Hey you guys, welcome back to another review. I just watched, according to y'all, some people in the comments say it's Iyanla. According to me, what I say Iyanla. So either way it go. I just watched Iyanla Fix My Life. And it's called A House of Chaos. So let's get into this because I really enjoyed it. Welcome to our channel. My name is Kourtney and my husband Eddie is not here because I'm doing this video solo. Before we get into it, let me tell you what this channel is all about. This channel is about Kourtney and Eddie. We do relationship topics, reviews, and right now I'm doing Iyanla Fix My Life. When I point, that means according to y'all, okay? Iyanla Fix My Life. Yeah, and I enjoyed this episode. I really truly did. So before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe if you're new to this channel. Make sure that you like as well as comment down below. I love the comments. Y'all know I try to always respond to them. And if you're watching this via Facebook, make sure you like and follow, right? Okay. And on all social media sites where I post this on IG, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, make sure that you comment down below. Okay, you guys, let's go ahead and get into it. So it's called A House of Chaos, and it's a mother that is 47 years old, close to my age. And her name is Christy, and she's a mother of 8. So I'm assuming that they just had 3 of her children on here. And I think most of them are grown, except for the 17-year-old. So Christy, she basically is coming on the show because her children are in chaos. Like, they're disrespectful. They don't, mind her. And that's basically what she's coming on there. She's coming on there because if her children don't get it together, it's going to affect her marriage. So that's basically why she's here. But when we get on here, we'll find out it's a little bit deeper than just them. A lot of it has to do with her. So the first person that they talk to is Amber, which she's 21 years old. She has a 1-year-old and she has a baby that's on the way. And she still stays at home with her mom and her mom's husband. And we got Christopher, which is 17. It just seems like he's reckless. He just don't care about nothing. He don't care. Then you have Christian, which is 27, a guy. And he's trying to get past the hurt and the damage, basically, that his mother has caused when she abandoned them and he was 12 years old. So, yeah, at that point, Iyanla stopped and she was like, wait, nobody never said damage and hurt. So it just kind of took her back because he was like, he already kind of know what the issue is. And so, yeah, it just kind of opened up some more things. So Iyanla was saying that why you not here basically to deal with the hurt of your firstborn? Why are you here to basically talk about, this? We need to deal with some other underlying stuff. So as they proceed, sorry, my eye is itching. Iyanla, she said, when children grow up in a dysfunctional family, the unresolved issues will end up in the mother's lap. Oh my gosh. Ooh, child. And again, if y'all watch the other video that I posted from when Shay Johnson was on Iyanla, and I kind of said some things about that. Like, I never wanted my children to have to sit on a couch or lay on a couch and talk to a therapist over something that I did. And I can totally agree with Iyanla on this part because we as women deal with so much. My goodness, we deal with so much. And basically we have to pack up our issues and the stuff that we dealt with to tend to the family, to tend to the children, and do the best that we can to try to raise them, whether you got the skills or not. Whether your mother told you exactly what to do or not, you just fending off maybe what you learned from TV, what you learned from neighbors, what you learned from friends and girlfriends, and you just try to do the best you can. But we'll get into that. And this is basically me, but at some point, Iyanla, she said, when children grow up in a dysfunctional family, the unresolved issues will end up in the mother's lap. Oh my gosh. Ooh, child. And again, if y'all watch the other video that I posted from when Shay Johnson was on Iyanla, and I kind of said some things about that. Like, I never wanted my children to have to sit on a couch or lay on a couch and talk to a therapist over something that I did. And I can totally agree with Iyanla on this part because we as women deal with so much. My goodness, we deal with so much. And basically we have to pack up our issues and the stuff that we dealt with to tend to the family, to tend to the children, and do the best that we can to try to raise them, whether you got the skills or not. Whether your mother told you exactly what to do or not, you just fending off maybe what you learned from TV, what you learned from friends and girlfriends, and you just try to do the best you can. But we'll get into that. And this was my thought. At some point, I cannot keep blaming my mom. I got to deal with my own demons. And I put that down there because I agree with her. But at some point, we got to get past the issues with whatever our parents did or did not do. And I understand that on here, they were able to, tell their mom their issues and all that stuff or whatever. And she was able to say, please forgive me. But what about people that don't have that luxury or coming on the show or having to actually be able to talk to their parents face to face to tell them what their issues are or what the things that they did to them? Will they stay stuck? And I can say no, because you got to learn to get the therapy that you need for you. You can't keep blaming something that happened, 20 years ago, 15 years ago on your mom. You got to get over those issues, because what if she or he or whoever don't tell you sorry? Sometimes people, you'll never get a sorry from people. You really won't. And you just got to learn to move past it. And I don't mean just ignore it and stay stuck. Because what we do, sometimes we suppress it. We think that we're over it. And sometimes when we see that person, that issue come back up, that anger come back up, we don't understand why we're so angry at this person, because of the stuff that they did that we haven't let go of. And so basically her children are in a place where they're stuck because of her abandonment. She left them. And I'm trying to think, did they say why did she leave? Why did she get up? I know that she had an abusive ex-husband or an abusive relationship. Not sure if she was married. And she left, but where did she go? What did she do? Iyanla did say that I'm going to say I or E, y'all, anyway. So she did say there was a lot of stuff that they were not saying. So let's move on. So Iyanla sit down with Christy, which is the parent. She came to get help with her children so her and her 31-year-old husband can be in a better place. First of all, she's 47 and he's 31. He reminds me of Norbit. If y'all watched the movie Norbit, he looks very familiar. And I guess that's why he looked familiar, because he reminds me of Norbit. He seems very timid, very shy, very scared of her. He looks very like a child himself when it comes to her. So she's talking to Amber. Amber, she went in the room and Amber was by herself. So basically she's saying she wants to deal with the sadness that's within her. And she says she watched her mom fail at relationship, which is why her relationships are failing. And I guess maybe that she's not with, I don't know if she got two different babies' father. But when you see something, especially as a child, you may end up repeating what you see. Because her mom had different failed relationships, abusive relationships and stuff. And she basically is doing the same thing. And so it saddens her. I'm sure to see her mom like that, but then also see that she's following her own footsteps. So Iyanla asked her, what did she want to do? She said, she wanted to do nursing, but she'll probably put that to the side to focus on her children. And she said, nope, that's one thing you don't do. She said when she was, I think she explained, Iyanla kind of, gave her own time frame and, timeline on how she got where she was and what she had to do. And she was like, she was going through school and she put her children on the floor over there while she do her homework. She said, no, you focus on you, and it's going to help you to be able to be a better parent to your children. Don't just put everything to the side and you just focus on your children. She said, that's what your mom did. So no, you focus on you. And I agree with that. You got to be a better you for them, because if you messed up and then you just saying you just going to focus on them, you will not be a better parent for them, because they need a better version of you. Somewhere we got to break the cycle. And that's a cycle that needs to be broken. So Christy, I hope that she's in school now or trying to go to school. I hope that, just not focusing on her children and making that the whole thing, but you got to focus on something for yourself. For yourself. Because we start out as being parents, and especially if we start out young like I did, I got pregnant when I was 19. I got married when I was 20. You know, I had my next child, I think, when I was about 20, 21, 22. So I started off fast, and I ended up not focusing on me. I ended up not being able to grow that little girl on the inside up in me. And it's like I had to kind of grow up with my children. But we'll get into that. So she's talking to Christy. I meant to say Amber, not Christy, because Christy is the mom. I meant to say Amber. I hope Amber is focusing on school. So Christy is having this meltdown and breakdown, and they went and get Iyanla, and she said that she don't want to talk about this issue that, you know, she talked to the counselor about on camera. And Iyanla was like, well, you don't get that right. And she said, you signed a contract, this is show, honey, basically what she's saying, so you're going to put all the business out here. So she was a little mindful and a little respectful in the fact that I guess she didn't, you know, want her to go in too much details, but she was like, you know, write the age down. She also said, well, what if God want to use you to be able to cause healing to come to so many people on you know, watching this show? Okay, so that's what the whole show about. But anyway, so anyway, she ended up basically saying that she had some abuse, and I'm sure it was, you know, when she was a child. She had abuse when she was a child, about 12 years old, and it affected her, you know, which is why it seems like she abandoned her children. So she got her to write it down. She said that she was touched, and her voice was stolen, and she was violated. And Iyanla asked her, what did your mother teach you? She told her to be loyal, and she said, oh, she taught you to be loyal to your abuser, basically. And so she ended up being in an abusive marriage. She had an abusive childhood, and she ended up being in an abusive marriage. And I can say that for a lot of people, Sometimes you may even marry your abuser and you not even know that's what you're doing. It's so, y'all, we're so, man, if we can see certain patterns that we fall into, certain things that, you know, our life sometimes can be so strategic and we don't even know it. We don't even know that we may marry the person that abused us, in a sense. You know, we may marry that father that was never there, that abandoned us, that neglected us. And, you know, but we end up marrying that person. Okay, so now she's talking to Demetrius, which is 31 years old. And basically she was telling him, you know, I guess she can see that, you know, he gentle or mild-mannered or weak, whatever you want, you know, call him, compared to her. And so she just basically said, do you have a voice? Do you have a voice in the home? Do you have a voice as a man? You need to put your foot down. How does she make you feel? You know, and she said, how does she control you? He said, with her mouth. So Iyanla said, I'm going to send y'all to separate spaces, to separate rooms. She gave him a book called The Spirit of a Man. She gave her a book, and it was called Peace, a book on peace. And she wants them to go and pretty much evaluate themselves. You know, she took his cell phone because she was like, I don't want her calling you or vice versa. I want y'all to deal with your own stuff. Deal with your own stuff and find out basically who you are and how you can progress and go forward in this. Christy, she came back and she said she was doing some soul searching. So after they separated, they did come back. She came back by herself, and she said she was doing some soul searching, and she was doing a lot of crying. And she said the little girl in her was throwing tantrums. And I thought this part that Iyanla said was so profound. She said, oftentimes we become mothers before we fully grow up the little girl on the inside of us. And that little girl ends up running our whole entire life. Ooh, child. That is so true. Like I told y'all before, when God began to deal with me about my issues, and I told you it was for 3 months, I did a lot of self-healing, self-therapy, And when he began to tell me my issues, it was all about the little girl that was on the inside of me. The little girl that never really got healed from her issues, her insecurity. You know, I began to write letters about the little girl on the inside of me. You know, if we won't deal with that little girl or that little boy, you know, you still having these insecurity, these issues, daddy issues, mommy issues, you know, all these issues on the inside that we need to deal with. And that child is basically running your life today, because I've seen people act basically like a child. I don't know why I'm basically using that word so much, but I have seen people act like a child, and they are grown adults, you know, throwing tantrums or screaming their insecurities, screaming so loud. So I have seen that they have not dealt with that, you know, that child, that person that really wants attention, that they would do anything, especially on the gram and Facebook, for attention, because that little child is crying out. Whew. Yeah, this is, oh my goodness. So, abandonment. So now she's dealing with the abandonment. The children got stuck when you left. That's what she said. The children got stuck when you left. Don't tell your kids about your issues today, because she don't want her sharing, you know, what happened to her when she was 12. So then maybe they shared them off camera, because they didn't share nothing on here. She said because they will give you a pass and they'll feel sorry for you, and they won't they'll just hurt even more. And I can attest to that, which is why I don't like sharing certain stuff with people, because at that moment I don't need your sympathy. If that makes sense, I don't need you to feel sorry for me in that moment. I may just want to share what I went through and stuff, because I need to break through some healing. I don't need you to hinder me or pet me in this area. I just want to share so I can move forward. I don't know. I know what I'm trying to say, and I know that may not make sense, but it makes perfect sense to me, because yeah. It's some things that I've been through, or times when I wanted to share with people, and I wasn't sharing for sympathy or empathy or for you to pet me, but I'm sharing because I needed to, but I needed it to be released. And sometimes people, it's just natural. They want to, feel sorry for you, or to, coddle you and hug you and kiss you, because of what you're sharing with them may be so hurtful or painful. But at that moment, I didn't need that. I don't need that. I need just for me to vent, to be able to get this off of me. Because if you pet me, you're not gonna allow me to be free or release it. You're just gonna, yeah. I hope that makes sense to somebody. It makes sense to me. So the mom sits down with her oldest son, which is Christian. And so he said, when my mom left, a part of me left. A part of me basically, died. She took that from him. And he said he was brokenhearted, and he still has not fully recovered. Which is why I said, what if he didn't have his mom there? What if she passed away, God forbid, and he didn't have that, and he never fully recovered? To me, somewhere along the line, you got to do the work. That's what she used to say on her thing. You got to do the work. You got to find your own. You got to do the work, read the books, go to therapy, get your own self-healing, and fully recover. Fully recover. When I got a divorce, I took time for me. It's a lot of people that go straight out there and start dating when they get a divorce, and they end up messing up themselves worse, and messing up a person that's probably in a place of healing, and they mess that person up. I took time to do the work and work on me. To some people, it may take them 5 years. Some people, it may take them 3. It took me almost a year. I didn't date because, first of all, I didn't know how when I was married for so long. I just took the time. I worked on me. I read books. I wrote down, journals. I talked to people. I was in different Facebook groups where they had discussions and topics and things that I can read. And I felt like, ooh, these people is really in a low place. I'm up here encouraging them. So you just got to do the work. So if you can't afford therapy or don't want to go to therapy, find out what your issue is, get books on those, write, journal, pray, do all the things that you need to do, and don't continue to walk around broken. That's my whole thing. Don't continue to walk around broken, because there is healing. It is. I don't care what your mama did when you were 2. There is healing for you. Let me tell you something, because if you don't get that healing, you're going to end up, I'm going to say, not saying that you could end up on drugs. You could end up, being an alcoholic. You could end up being addicted to sex or food, being depressed, So you got to do the healing for you. Don't nobody know how deep your pain is but you and God. Nobody but you. All right. See, I didn't start preaching. I'm sorry. Y'all can send your offerings, send your love offerings. All right. So that's when I wanted to say that. So, the son, he said he hadn't fully recovered. And he said that he saw his mom being abused when he was 2 years old. So at that point, Iyanla told him, because he seemed like he may just not cry. He said he cried when he was little. I guess he said he stopped crying. So he may be at a place where he's just a little hard-hearted. And the tears probably just won't flow. And if he was the oldest, he probably had to be strong for everybody else. So now he just at a place where he ain't crying, or he may not cry on camera. So she said, pull him close, pull him in your bosoms, whatever, and just let him cry. But it didn't. They focused on his hands. His hands just looked dropped, like, he was at that place of numbness. And he didn't even look like he hugged his mama back. So I hope he cried, when she said put the cameras down. I hope he had got all his healing off camera. Now we sit down and talk to Amber and Christopher, which is the 17-year-old, and I think Amber is 21. So the question was asked is, what do you want to be different? Like, when you leave here, what do you want to be different? Amber said she just wants basically the family to be in a better place. Christopher was looking at his sister and said, I don't want your kids to go through what we went through. At that point, he just like, well, what is it that y'all done been through? Because I don't know. Y'all ain't telling the whole story. And so he began to say that his dad used to beat his mom almost senseless. And he's saying, like, if the mom was on the corner with the dad, she'll be on the corner with doing, selling drugs where he was selling drugs, So he seen a lot. They seen a lot. He was like, the stuff that, normal people wouldn't seen, they been through it. They seen a lot. They been through a lot at a young age. And so at that point, Iyanla went and got the mom. Was like, listen, something missing. You ain't telling me all this stuff. So she was mad at her for not telling her everything. So she sit down and she's talking to them. She said, one thing, do you know that people failed y'all? People failed you, Christopher, and everybody failed you, Amber. Now, she brought in, so she brought in Christian and Christopher and Christy. Woo. She brought them all in to sit down and to face the two brothers facing each other. And she held up a drug card. And he said that he'll probably, be on drugs. This is the baby. And she held up a jail card. And he like, yeah, he'll probably be there too, because his life is just basically out of control. And he know it, and he just don't care. So he said that, he don't care. He'll probably sell drugs, do drugs, all this stuff, whatever. And he said, because I got to do what I got to do. I got to protect me. I got to see, I got to get what I need to get for me. And so he had said, well, has your brother ever been in jail? He was like, no. Has he ever done drugs? He was like, no. Well, follow this person. Follow his method of behavior on what he's doing as far as income. Follow that. You got a model, role model in front of you. Why are you trying to say, you just got to do stuff for you and all this stuff? And she was saying when a person has been abandoned so much, they feel like don't nobody, want to be with them. Don't nobody believe in them. Don't nobody, they just don't matter. And so at that point, it seems like Christopher had a little hope in his eyes. And, he said, the mom, she did apologize to him, for all the stuff that she did. And he said at the end, I'm still the man of the house. And at that point, I was like, well, what the husband, Demetrius? Y'all know what's his name? Kevin. I forget his name. Kevin. When he said, what's up, Demetrius? That's what that reminded me of. Y'all gotta watch him. He be doing those voiceovers. What's up, Demetrius? So they on day 3. Again, like I was saying, when he said that and they all laughed and he said he's still the head of the household or the man of the house, I was like, okay, well, don't she got a whole husband up in there? So y'all laughing, but he's serious. And as I seen when Iyanla checked him at the end, he was serious because he started telling her husband what he expect out of him and what he need to do as being the man in the house. And she shut that down and said, you're being very disrespectful, which she asked a question and maybe he just don't know how to say it. That's something that she should have taught him on how to say it. When he just used to having his way and doing what he wanted to do and nobody putting him in his place, so to speak. How was he supposed to say it? He said it how it was presented to him. That's all he knew how to say it. So we on day 3. We're about to close this out. And she kept them separated for 2 days. And I wrote down here, he looked like Norbert. Y'all agree or disagree? So Demetrius said that one thing about them, they don't stay on the same page. Iyanla said, because you have been with an abusive alpha male, you turned around and got the opposite and you got a gentle spirit, but do you know how to handle him? I was like, y'all, this stuff will make you go and look at your own life and see what anyway. So Christy said that she was forced to wear the pants because it seems like Demetrius is maybe passive aggressive or I wouldn't say passive aggressive. He just not really weak. I don't really know the words to use for him, but it's like it seems as though when she put stuff in his lap to do with responsibility, he come up short with it. So she said she was forced to go out there and she wore the pants not because she wanted to, because she had to. She had to pay the power bill, the light bill, and all this stuff because when stuff got cut off. He said, well, if the lights get cut off, just go buy candles. Which, I don't know about that. What was he supposed to do? What did he do with his money? Why wasn't he effective with the finances? That's a whole nother issue right there, but okay, it looked good on camera. Now, the last step, she brought everybody in the room, and that's when she said, what are your grievances and what is it that you get off your chest about with each other. And at that point, she the cards that she gave them in the beginning, they pretty much threw them in the fire and, all is well, and they hug and they kiss and stuff. And like I said, I like this episode because I like personally when she really deals with real issues and she goes down deep. Not saying that the first episode did, but it got out of hand when the main guest, the person that wrote in to get help, didn't get the help. So, and then it was 2 hours. So it seems like, I know they had condensed all this stuff into 1 hour show, but I did like it. And I pray that this family comes together and they continue to get the help they need, because 2 or 3 days with Iyanla is not going to work when they got so much, issues, internal issues. Yeah, especially with that youngest one. But on that note, you guys, that's my review on it. And I'm going to always try to add my personal commentary on it. and tell you what I thought about it and just kind of put my insight on it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and make sure that if you're watching this video via YouTube, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you like, and make sure that you comment. If you're watching this via Facebook, make sure that you do what? Like and follow. And on all social media sites, comment down below. I will see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to go with God and let God go with you. Deuces.